The great kingdom of Persia was a land of splendor and might, stretching from the towering mountains of Media to the vast deserts of Babylon. Its capital, Shushan, gleamed with golden palaces, marble courtyards, and bustling markets where traders from distant lands sold their wares. At the heart of this grand empire was its ruler, King Darius the Mighty, a man of towering stature and unmatched strength. His voice commanded armies, his wisdom shaped laws, and his presence alone could strike both awe and fear into the hearts of men. Among all his governors and officials, there was one man who stood out, Daniel, the fearless sage. Though he was a foreigner in Babylon, he had risen to the highest ranks through his wisdom, integrity, and unwavering faith. King Darius, ever the judge of true character, saw in Daniel a man unlike any other. He planned to make him the supreme minister of the empire, second only to the king himself. But not everyone in the kingdom rejoiced at Daniel's success. A group of jealous governors and scheming nobles gathered in secret. They whispered in hushed tones, their faces twisted with envy.
We must bring Daniel down. But how?
The man is
flawless.
No crime.
No weakness.
Then, one of them, a sharp-eyed courtier named Nabazu the Cunning, smirked.
There is one weakness, his devotion to his God. That is where we strike.
The very next morning, they stood before King Darius, bowing low before his grand throne of carved ivory and gold.
Almighty King Darius, the lion-hearted, the unconquerable ruler of Persia, they praised. Let a law be passed. For the next 30 days, let no one in your kingdom pray to any god or man, except you, O king. Let them worship only you, mighty one. And if any disobey, let them be thrown into the pit of the den of lions.
Flattered and pleased, the king nodded. He did not see the trap. With a stroke of his golden scepter, he sealed the decree into law. When Daniel heard about the new law, he faced a choice. Would he forsake his God to save his life? Or would he remain faithful, even in the face of death? Without hesitation, he returned home, climbed to the upper room of his house, and knelt before the open windows facing Jerusalem. As he had always done, he prayed, once, twice, 3 times a day. His voice, calm and unwavering, echoed through the streets. His enemies were waiting. They rushed to the palace and cried out,
O King Darius, your own law has been broken. Daniel, the foreigner whom you honor, prays to his God refuses to worship you.
The king's face darkened. He realized he had been deceived. He spent the entire day pacing in his chamber, searching for a way to save Daniel. But the law of the Medes and Persians was unchangeable. At sunset, the jealous nobles stood before him again.
King, the law must be carried
out.
That evening, as torches flickered against the stone walls, Daniel was led to the pit of the devourers. The den was not an ordinary hole in the ground. It was a massive cavern, plastered smooth with stone, built deep beneath the palace, where lions bred for war and hunting were kept. Their roars could be heard echoing through the city at night. As Daniel stood at the edge of the pit, the king himself walked forward. His piercing gaze softened as he looked at the faithful man before him.
May your God, whom you serve so faithfully, rescue you.
With that, the royal guards lowered Daniel into the pit. A massive stone slab, heavier than 10 men, was rolled across the entrance, and the king himself pressed his royal seal into the wax, ensuring that no one could rescue him. That night, King Darius did not eat. He did not drink. He did not even call for his entertainers. Instead, he sat alone on his grand throne, his hands clenched into fists, his heart weighed with regret. As the first light of dawn, the king ran to the lion's den, his royal robe billowing behind him. His powerful voice, trembling with desperation, called out,
Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God saved you from the lions?
Then, a strong and steady voice rose from the depths of the pit.
O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, for I was found innocent before him, and I have done no wrong before you, O king.
A roar of astonishment and joy erupted from the palace guards. King Darius laughed in relief.
Ha! 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 Ha!
His mighty chest heaving. He ordered his strongest warriors to remove the stone at once. As they pulled Daniel out, the onlookers gasped in disbelief. There was not a single scratch on him. Then, the king turned to the wicked officials.
You deceived me and tried to destroy an innocent man. He thundered, his voice like the roar of a lion. Now, you shall receive the punishment you planned for him.
The traitors, Nabazu the cunning and his wicked companions, were seized at once. Screaming in terror, they were dragged to the very pit they had prepared for Daniel. Before they even hit the ground, the lions, fierce and hungry, leaped upon them. The palace courtyard fell into a hushed silence. That very day, King Darius ascended the grand marble steps of his palace and issued a new decree to all the nations of his empire.
Let everyone in my kingdom fear and worship the God of Daniel, for he is the living God. His kingdom will never be destroyed, and he delivers those who trust in him.
And so, Daniel prospered under King Darius and King Cyrus.